Welcome to another video of me trying to explain, I guess things. So today what we're talking about is how some English and some philosophy classes actually make you worse at debating and arguing positions. So where does this come from? Well, this comes from some of the experiences that I've had, that I've read, that I've seen before on like social communities. And I want to emphasize that this is based on a statistically small sample size. So it's not to say that most or all English or philosophy teachers are like this. It's simply to say, from the information that I've gathered, that there is at least some prevalence of this. All right, so what am I talking about here? Well, what I'm talking about is the idea of, what do you do in these classes? Well, essentially, you write an intro paragraph, three body paragraphs, and a conclusion. Basically, anybody that's taken high school English or college English or philosophy or any of the kind of softer science classes knows that this is the majority of the class. This is what the class does, is they write argumentative or persuasive essays, and they try to back it up with sources. Now, there's nothing wrong with that initially until you get to, let's put aside ChatGPT for a second, because realistically, nobody is doing their work anymore except for me without using ChatGPT. I actually write my essays. I don't use ChatGPT to write my essays. So, anyways, what am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about um, the fact that English teachers and philosophy teachers will tell you to pick a topic and then a side to argue or debate, right? And keep in mind that these introductory classes that you're taking, you're not going to be well versed in the political landscape. So it adds kind of a layer to the cake of analysis that we're doing here. So what is the problem with this? The problem is the way that the assignments are set up. I'm not saying that English and related teachers do this intentionally, but it is something that they should get onto because it actually hinders progress in what they're trying to develop within their students. So you pick a topic for your argument or what you're trying to persuade an audience on, right, in your paper. I'm gonna wait for this guy to shut the hell up. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so anyways, right. Oh my god. Okay, so anyways, let's get away from this fighting. Um, basically, the problem is that you pick a side and a topic, right? And I understand that maybe the teachers and want you to research the topic before making an informed stance on the position that you're trying to argue. But the way that I've always seen these argumentative papers and how they play out is that the student will just pick a side for or against a position, and then what they'll do is they'll look up sources that agree with their position, but then they ignore the sources or the information that goes against their position. And what this actually does is it makes them worse at debating. I've seen this with online commentators that have gone to college, where they'll look up sources that agree with their position on something, while ignoring the other like arguments, the other side, because it doesn't further their point of view. And a more healthy approach to this would be to look up the information first, make an informed stance or decision of what you're trying to push for or against, and use the other side. Try to develop counterpoints to why they might be wrong or criticisms to why they might be wrong while citing those sources, right? That's how you develop somebody that's better at debating. because if they never develop or arguing or persuading, because if they never debate that, train that part of their brain, which is to argue or to shut down points or try to confront points of view that are inherently different to their own, then they're not going to be any better at arguing. And I would say that this behavior that's, unintentionally done, I don't believe teachers do this on purpose, but they definitely need to look out for this. I think that it actually results in students having a confirmation bias because they're taught that that behavior is okay. So what they do is they look for sources that side with their opinion, and because it always gave them full class credit for doing it, or because it was always viewed as okay to do, or was ignored in class, they think, well, that means that I can just look for what my side is saying, and I just won't look for so I'll look for CNN or NBC or MSNBC, but I'm not going to look at. You shouldn't really even use these sources to begin with. Well, actually, you should look at multiple news sources, but I'll always look at CNN or MSNBC because it furthers my point of view, and it has this reward, right? This learned reward of I get the assignment done, I get what my point is coming across done, like I get it all done, and so I don't need to look at the other things. And so they come out into the real world being all educated, and they don't effectively learn this skill very well. And I would say that this is prevalent in the majority of the population. I know very few people, very, very few people, that are willing to look at what the opposite side says. Now, I can tell you from being online that right now, people like Hassan are targeting Asmongold, and he's just making up a bunch of shit that Asmongold says, right? But the difference is that I know before taking a stance on a current event or a topic, to look at what Hassan is saying, as crazy, batshit insane as he is. Take a look at somebody that's more liberal, taking something that, like a paleo conservative, taking this at what they look at. And that will give me a more comprehensive view of the whole thing, and will give me enough boost to be able to argue the position that I want to. Now, I'm not very good at arguing verbally because I have a language processing disorder, so I prefer typing. And it's actually funny because despite my processing speed being extremely high, I'm not able to form words. I'm actually below average at forming words to kind of thinking and then developing words to use. So, anyways, that's unrelated, but you get the point. See ya.